If this is your first time joining me, welcome to Transforming Your Life Through Storytelling. They are profound and extraordinary moments that touch our lives. And I'm happy to say that this week's tale is no exception. You see, in life, there are events that defy explanations, moments of synchronicity, serendipity, and the unmistakable signs of the universe. Yet, in our human tendency to rationalize, we may dismiss these occurrences as simply coincidental. But among the seemingly ordinary moments lies the hand of extraordinary miracles at work. This is the story of Dalia Emanueloff. In fact, she was here in Toronto to tell her story at a congregation. Unfortunately, I wasn't there, so I'm bringing you her story through second source, as told by Rabbi Joel Gold. I hope you enjoy the story. In the tumultuous backdrop of the Gaza War of 2008, Dalia Manuela found herself grappling with unimaginable loss, having bid farewell to her husband in a tragic car accident. She faced yet another heart-wrenching trial when her son Dvir was called to battle in Gaza. The weight of despair bore down upon her as 2 weeks into the war, the news of her son's ultimate demise shattered her world. Dvir was the first IDF soldier to perish in Operation Cast Lead. Consumed by grief and anguish, Dalia retreated into the shadows of her own despair, shutting herself away from the world. Weeks turned into months of cycles of sorrow. She gave up on everything, but she was especially angry at God. She felt it was a slap on her face to have lost her son soon after her husband. Despite the pleas of her loved ones, she remained ensconced in her solitude. Her faith was shattered and her prayers muted by the deafening silence of loss. 2 months later, it was Dvir's birthday, and Dalia returned home from visiting her son's tomb when she broke into an uncontrollable sob. It was a particularly hard day, she recalls, yet amidst the depths of her despair, a flicker of hope emerged, a whisper of a plea to the heavens for a sign that her son was being taken care of. Turning to the heavens, Dalia said, "God, I want to know that my son is okay." Now, that was the first time that she spoke to God since the death of her son. So she said, "God, I'll tell you what, you give me one more hug from my Dvir, and I'll be okay with that." Now, in that moment, the echo of her prayer unfolded a miracle, a chance encounter that will defy the boundaries of probability and logic. 3 weeks later, she gets a phone call from her daughter, and she says, "Ima, Mom, there is a concert at the Arts and Crafts Festival in Jerusalem," which I guess is, a big festival, lots of people with food and drinks and music. "And your grandkids miss you, they want to see you." So Dalia agrees to go to the concert. She finds herself sitting in the bleacher section when she feels a gentle touch upon her shoulder, a moment that will change the course of her journey forever. She turns to face the source of the unexpected gesture when she sees a blonde boy with blue eyes. A kindergarten teacher by profession, Dalia was immediately drawn to the little boy, and she began to talk to him and asked him if he wanted to sit next to her while looking around to see whose kid that was. Soon after, Dalia hears the father calling out, "Eshel, Eshel, come and sit next to Abba and Dvir." When she hears the name, Dalia was stunned, and she turns to see that a father was holding a baby. "What did you say his name was?" she asked the father, to which he responded, "Dvir." "How old is he?" she asked. 6 months. Forgive me, she continued, but was he born after Kaslit or before? To which the father responded, after. Then Dalia couldn't help herself, so she kept pressing, and she goes, please forgive me, but may I ask, why did you name him Dvir? After all, it's not a very common name. The father smiles and says, well, it's a crazy story, but I'll tell you. And he points to his wife and says, when my wife was 8 months pregnant, the doctors ran a routine test and they found something serious. There was a defect with the fetus, and they said that if he made it through, that he will have to spend his whole life in and out of hospitals with dialysis. We were heartbroken. So that night, my wife came home, turned on the news, and she heard that the first Israeli soldier that had been killed in battle was named Dalia Emanueloff. So she spoke to God and said, God, please save my child, and if the baby is born healthy, I'm going to name him Dvir to honor the soldier that gave up his life to defend our nation. Just a month later, says the father, we gave birth to a healthy boy and we named him Dvir. Dalia was in shock. Tears began to fall, and she said to them, I am the soldier's mother. Now, coincidence or divine orchestration? What are the chances that in a festival of 8,000 chairs with thousands of people, what were the chances of such encounter? Only a miracle could have caused two families from different parts of the city to sit one behind the other. In that realization of the miracle at hand, the two families began to hug. The mother, who's now carrying the baby, says to Dalia, I am sure Dvir is sending you a hug from heaven. Dalia was surprised to hear those very precise words. She was given a chance to hold the baby, and in that moment, she just knew. In that fleeting moment of connection, she realized that the universe had conspired to give her Dvir for one last hug. Now, this story made it to the local paper so that you can Google it, but unfortunately, these amazing stories don't make it to the international news. But nonetheless, it's a reminder that miracles are not confined to the pages of ancient lore, but unfold in the quiet whispers of everyday life. It is a narrative that reaffirms our belief in the unseen forces that shape our destinies. It's a reminder of the gentle nudges from the universe to trust in the power of hope, faith, and the ever-presence of divine grace. I believe that the universe is behind every event that we often call coincidental, accidental, or simply a chance. See you on the next episode.